So now I'm going to show you how you can install MongoDB. This process is split up into two videos. In this first video, I'm going to start by talking about the network configuration you need to run MongoDB. So here I am on Google Cloud, and what I'm going to do is I am going to go to the VPC service. Now, the VPC service on Google Cloud is essentially the networking service. So this is where you would set up all of your network configurations. And we're going to start by configuring the firewall. So we have to allow the ports that MongoDB needs to function. So I'm going to be creating a firewall rule here. Now make sure that you create a firewall rule and not a firewall policy. Firewall rules and firewall policies are actually two different things. So make sure that you are creating a firewall rule. Now you can name this firewall rule allow MongoDB to indicate that we are allowing MongoDB ports. And then you can give it a useful description. Okay. Next, we're going to specify target tags. Now, target tags are important because target tags determine which machines will be subjected to this rule. So which set of virtual machines will be given this firewall rule. That's what target tags means. And we're going to say that the MongoDB instances will be given this rule. So if your instances are tagged with MongoDB, then this firewall rule will apply to those instances. Now, for the source filter, I'm going to change it from IPv4 to source tags. And we're going to say that the source tag is also MongoDB. Later on, you'll learn that MongoDB works in a cluster. So, because we're saying that the target tags are MongoDB and the source tags are MongoDB, this rule will actually apply to itself. So you will have VMs or virtual machines tagged as MongoDB, and the VMs tagged as MongoDB will allow traffic only from other VMs tagged as MongoDB. So if you have a MongoDB cluster, only the VMs in the cluster can communicate with one another on these ports and not be blocked. So the ports we are going to allow here are ports 27017 until 27020. Now, why is it 27017 until 27020? MongoDB actually tells you which ports will need to be allowed for MongoDB to work. And you can see in the MongoDB documentation 27017, 27018, 27019, and 27020. Now you'll find out what these ports mean later on. But you'll see that we are allowing all TCP ports from port 27017 to 27020, which encompasses all of the ports that MongoDB tells you to allow. After that, we can create this rule. Now this rule is being created, and once it's done creating, so you can see it's in the process of being created, we can then create instances that will use this firewall rule. So, surprise, there is some teleportation and outfit changes in this video because I forgot to mention some other thing that you have to create. So you also have to create one more firewall rule. And this firewall rule is meant to allow Google's identity-aware proxy to connect to your MongoDB server. So I'm going to create another firewall rule, and I'm going to call it allow ingress IAP. IAP stands for the identity aware proxy. Now we are still going to target the MongoDB instances. But now we are going to use this source IP address range. What this means is any IP address from this range can connect to my instances. This range is a range that is provided by Google. It's an official Google-owned IP address range. And this IP address range is specific to the identity-aware proxy on Google. The identity-aware proxy will allow you to create a secure connection from wherever you are to your MongoDB instance. Next, we have to specify the ports that we are going to connect to. Now, we are going to connect to port 22 because port 22 is the port for SSH. SSH is used to create secure connections to a remote terminal. We're also going to allow port 27017 and up until port 27020, similar to what we did earlier. So this allows MongoDB to be reachable by the identity-aware proxy. So we can just create this rule, and now we should have the rules that we need to connect to our instance. So this rule shouldn't take too long to create, and now it's already available.